this ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.
Hello guys and welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros, and today we're going to be taking a look at Jacked Juice by Jackedhammer. Sounds feisty, doesn't it? Sounds Jack 3D-esque. Is it going to be going down that route or a different one? We'll find out as we go through the usuals, the taste, the price, the label, the effects. Stay tuned for all of it. And if you are new here, please do subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future reviews, because we drop about 3 a week at least, I'd say. Please do also like the video and let us know your thoughts down in the comments on this pre-workout and anything else you want to see us review. Let's move on. Okay, taste and mixability time. So we have got Heavenly Bubblegum flavour. Also comes in Delicious Cherry, I believe. I think we chose this flavour, but both sound really nice, to be fair. I'll put up on the screen my taste segment just so you can see how it looks in the glass, how it mixes. My mic didn't record, so it didn't pick up any audio, so I'm just reshooting it the next day. But yeah, it was really nice. 8 out of 10 is what I'm going to give it. It tastes sort of like Hubba Bubba. It has that vibe to it. There's no chemical-y undertones, no horribleness to it. It didn't froth much. There was no chalkiness. Really good flavour, not bad at all. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Price time. So how much is this going to be setting you back? Well, you'll head over to Jackedhammer.store where you'll see this 40/20 serving tub on there. Using our 20% discount code RB20 knocks it down to £24 or £1.20 a go. And actually it comes to a 6.5 out of 10 on our price scale. So priced a decent bit better than average actually. So, you know, we're gonna have to see what you're getting for that money. Is it gonna be good bang for buck or not? That is the real thing we're interested in. But what I will say, guys, is this is very important. 1 scoop actually gets you the max serving, not 2 scoops like it says on the label. So I actually measured out 1 scoop and it came to 15 grams, which on the label it says you need 2 scoops to get. So if you was to do 2 scoops and follow the label's advice, you'd end up taking in 30 grams, which would be double the max dosage. So this is why we will say weigh out your scoops. It's very important, because if this had, say, 500 caffeine and you did mess up and do the 2 scoops, as it says, you'd be taking a gram of caffeine in. So yeah, it is definitely worth investing in some scales just for that factor alone. So let's move on to that label. Okay, label time. So 2 scoops, or really 1 scoop, 15 grams, niacin, vitamin B3 up top, 10 milligrams. You see this in a lot of pre-workouts, just a general B vitamin, but it can also bring out some niacin flushing when it's paired with beta-alanine. So we'll have to see about that. So the first main ingredient here is citrulline malate, 2 to 1, 6 grams. So you're getting 4 grams of pure L-citrulline, which is not bad. It's not bad at all. A lot of people prefer to have 6 pure L-citrulline, but 4 is enough to get the job done. That's going to bump up nitric oxide levels in the bloodstream, helping with the blood flow in the pumps. Then we've got beta-alanine, 3.2 grams, clinical dose, like to see that. That's that itchy, tingly feeling amino acid that does also help with endurance when it builds up in your system to buffer lactic acid. We've got betaine anhydrous at 2 grams, which is close enough to 2.5. It's an all-rounder ingredient, really. It's going to help with your pumps, power, performance, all that good stuff. Then we move down to nitrosogene, which is inositol arginine silicate. It's a registered ingredient, which means it's sort of trademarked. That's in there at 1 gram, which is a decent dose. I think the highest we generally see is 1.5, so 1 gram definitely isn't bad at all. It's definitely going to be enough to get working. It's going to pair with the L-citrulline to bump up nitric oxide levels and help with pumps. Again, it's a more fancy pants version of L-arginine basically, so it's not going to dissipate as quickly in the bloodstream. It's going to hang around longer and do its job a bit better. And we've got L-taurine at 1 gram, which is another all-rounder. It's going to help a bit with cognition, energy production within the body, and pumps. Then we move down to AAKG, which is L-arginine alpha ketoglutarate, 500 milligrams. That is a low dose. We normally like to see a few grams of this stuff, but that's the salt of arginine. It's going to help with pumps and contractions and endurance. Will it at that dose? I don't know, negligible I'd argue, but we'll see, we'll see. Then we've got caffeine anhydrous at 300 milligrams. Sweet spot dose, I'd say it's around about the average to what you see for today's standards. It's about 3 cups of coffee worth of caffeine. It's that main stimulant that's going to wake you up and get you moving, so good to see. Then we've got Mucana pruriens velvet bean extract, 250 milligrams. That's the anti-anxiety, anti-stress, calming, focus, mood boosting style ingredient. So you don't see it all too often in pre-workouts, but yeah, it's a good one. Then we've got L-theanine at 250 milligrams. Kind of a high dose, especially when you measure it up against the caffeine, so that will probably put a lot of people off. We don't mind L-theanine, but we do think it really does depend on how much you're putting in versus the stimulants. This one's a bit of a slippery slope because it's getting close to that caffeine amount, so it could really go either way. We'll have to see in the effects section. That's going to basically taper off any harsh stimulatory effects of the caffeine or any other stimulants that might be in a pre-workout. It's going to also help to tunnel you in with a focus and prevent any kind of crash, or so they say. So yeah, we got that. So you L-theanine haters might not like that. And then we've got estrogen and bioperine in here at 50 milligrams and 5 milligrams respectively. Decent dosages, so they're going to pair well together to help with the uptake of all of these ingredients, getting them through you as quickly and effectively as possible. So we love to see that dual attack on the old absorption front. It normally works really well. Then we've got huperzine A, 50 micrograms. On the lower end of what we normally see, you can see up to 300 micrograms, so it is definitely on the lowest end, but enough to definitely still work. It's going to help with the focus, the cognition, memory, learning, staying on the ball whilst you're training. So I do think it's quite a comprehensive label actually. It's covering a bit of stim, endurance, pumps, focus. It's got it all there. We'll just have to see how it comes together in real world training. So let's find out. Effects time with Jacked Juice. So how did myself and Aaron get on with this in the 2 times that we've both used it each? Well, I'll start off by saying it's one of those labels that comes together pretty much as it looks in real world. So we can ascertain, you know, there's going to be a good amount of everything. The only thing that doesn't really translate into real world is the beta tingles. For some reason, it just doesn't feel that tingly. It feels average, like maybe a 5 out of 10 on our tingle scale. You get the heating sensation, but I didn't really itch or tingle much. Really weird, especially as there's 2 digestive A's and the clinical amount of beta and the niacin on top. So I was expecting to be itching my eyeballs out, and I did have another pre-workout a couple of days before this with the same dose of beta alanine, and I felt that. So it's not even like I've maxed out beta alanine and I just can't feel it anymore. So that's the only weirdness that doesn't kind of translate, should I say. But you know what, it's not a bad thing necessarily, because if you don't like beta alanine, it's enough to survive. And if you do like it, you can still feel it. So it's kind of in the middle. But you know, if you really want it to kick in strong, you might be a little bit upset. But it's enough to get us going. So it's not a bad thing. I'd rather that than it not being here at all. So yeah, there we go. We start off with a beta alanine tingle, and then comes in no rush of energy, but just a smooth onset of focus and alertness and willingness to get moving. It's a kind of feeling where you don't feel like you're in an absolute rush to get moving, but you know exactly what you've got to do and you will get it done. Like a very clear mental focus and mood to it, but there's no absolute rush to run around like a maniac. So it is very productive in that sense, because you feel very calm and collected and focused, but with just the right amount of energy to get everything done. It's definitely enough for your typical gym day. It struggled a little bit on the more hardcore ones, like the 2-hour leg or back days, you know, when you really just go for it. But, you know, arms, shoulders, chest, those kind of days, absolutely spot on amount of energy. Did not find myself needing more. So yeah, really enjoy it from an energy focus standpoint, and a bit of mood elevation is definitely apparent as well. Pumps are also very, very good. Probably the best part about it, just ahead of that focus / mood elevation. And energy is probably about average, to be fair. And I do think perhaps that's because of that L-theanine really shoving down the caffeine and saying, whoa, hold your horses, bro. You know, chill out, go to sleep. But it doesn't feel horrendous. It just feels super smooth. I do think it would hit a lot harder if you, harder if you took away the L-theanine. Perhaps the Mucana purines also ties in with that L-theanine from the sort of relaxing standpoint. So it's not an absolute rush around maniac pre-workout. I cannot stress that enough. It's a calm, collected, focused, alert style pre-workout. So obviously if anyone's looking at this thinking, oh, it's got the word jacked in it, is it going to be like Jack 3D? The answer is no. It's definitely not down that stim junkie mad route. It's a nice, healthy, all-rounder daily driver style pre-workout, perfect for beginners, intermediates, people that take training seriously and want a bit of endurance and pumps and focus. Not for people that really want that high energy standpoint, so obviously it's not suitable for stim junkies unless you do want something lower stim to break up the high stim days. That's how I see it. But I think it's going to be one of those ones that you could take, you know, like I say, almost every day if you really wanted to, with no adverse effects. So from that standpoint, thumbs up. So overall, we had really good sessions on this. I do think that it's doing everything well. It's just not standing out and doing anything incredibly well. But then again, for that price, I really do think it's worth it. For what, £1.20 a go, 6.5 out of 10 on the price scale. I think that's a very fair price with our code to pick this up for, really. So a very well-rounded, nice pre-workout. There's no negatives to it, so it's not going to be one of these ones that, you know, ruins your appetite, keeps you up at night, gives you jitters, makes you feel ill, you know, sits on the stomach, nothing like that at all. You just feel good on it, you feel in the zone on it. You know, like I say, it pretty much comes together as you'd expect from the label, really. So taking all of that into consideration, when I say the pumps are the best, the focus is just behind that, and then the energy is around average, I'm going to throw all that together and the fact there's no negatives, and we're going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. But I really do think it could easily edge into 8 and even 9 with a couple of tweaks to the label. You know, maybe a little bit more energy, maybe lower the L-theanine, maybe one or two more focus ingredients, and obviously that would bump the price up, so I can understand why they've done it the way they have. But overall, really, really good pre-workout. Can definitely recommend it. 7.5 out of 10 is the score on this day. But we want to know what you think of this down in the comment section. Is this something you would pick up? What do you think of that label? What do you think of the effects? We want to know all of it. And as always, stay stimmed.